Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, August the 7th, 2025. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us today. Hope you're having a good one. Can you not hear me? Oh, wait, yes, there we go. That's because I forgot that I had muted on Discord, but now he can hear me. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us. After a hiatus, we have returned. And we're doing a week of it's not a pure tech support week, but we're switching it up a little bit by having opened it up to everyone over on Patreon, where you can basically ask not just only your tech support questions, but also if you had like video game news or anything from the last couple of weeks, because we haven't been able to do the cast in a couple of weeks, if there was something in particular, because a fair amount of news happened in that period of time, and obviously we didn't want to retread shit that people weren't interested in, so we opened that up, and we had a whole bunch of people write in, and so we are going to give her the business and answer a bunch of these and have a little chat about them. There's some stuff that I definitely expected to be in here, and some stuff that I did not, so we'll have to see how that goes. But before we get started, of course, the most important question of the week. Mr. Black, how's your week? Well, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's okay. I was in Montreal for a weekend this past weekend. Yeah, play a little bit of cards. Just gotta wait for a little bit, so that was nice. And outside of that, just been grinding the streams, chilling out. Yeah, nothing. Nothing too exciting.
All quiet on the RP streets. Nothing crazy.
Nothing too nutty. So
no, that's good.
Well, yes, yes and no, but it's just another week.
Nothing. Yeah, while you were away, I did consider doing like a solo, just go on and just basically read news while you were away, just to give people, because I knew there was a lot of stuff happening, but then it ended up getting busy and then at one point totally forgot that I even let people know they could let me know if they wanted me to do it, and so it never happened. But that's why we're going to open it up today like we have. The last couple of weeks been trudging along, obviously with M being pregante. We've had appointments and doctor appointments and things of that nature, and I in the last 5 days, as you and I were talking in between casts, I've been studying for the Nova Scotia real estate.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of this fucking thing, this big cocksucker. She's got some girth. So I've been studying that. I am 5 units out of 14 deep. My next exciting chapter will be buyer financing and the closing process, which I'm sure is going to be fucking thrilling. A real page turner when the time comes, which is not going to be today, and it's not going to be tomorrow either. I am taking a couple of days off after going in hard in the paint for 5 days in a row. I'm going to back off and then do a little review of everything I've done so far on probably the start of next week. We also have a big ultrasound, the big one on Sunday, and so that's the one where technically we can find the gender of baby, but we're going to hold off until around the 16th. We're going to have a little dinner, just mom and dad and us, and going to have a little cake made with the inside being the the appropriate color, and then we're going to find out what we're bringing into the world. So in a couple of weeks, that will be a big exciting thing, and we'll also, of course, be able to know much more about the health of baby, how things are going, if there's any markers we need to be considering, things of that nature. All that starts to happen now. But things have been going very well. Em's been able to work normally. She hasn't, she's had fatigue. Obviously, her sciatica has been a fucking yo-yo. She's been very good about doing her daily stretching and stuff to help ease her sciatica. But things have been going really well. So that's been nice. And the last couple weeks have been basically that. It was really just, I played a little OSRS for a few days. As you noticed, you stopped in on the stream. I was playing a little old school RuneScape as well. Because I've been trying to find, at first it seemed like I was going to do a thing where I'd study for a few hours a day, and then I'd do like a stream in the evening. That hasn't really panned out that way so far. I've literally just done like 8 straight hours of studying and then been like, all right, well, I'm just not going to fucking do anything now. And just brain dead for the rest of the night. But I was considering OSRS as a thing, so I played a little bit of that. That was an intriguing experience. I can see the appeal to a degree. I feel like it would get old for me pretty quick after a while, but I do appreciate how they've maintained that game for the length of time that they have. They almost fucked it. It's a good thing they didn't close down OSRS when they released 3, because that could have been a catastrophe. But OSRS on the big upswing. So also want to give a quick shout out before it goes away in chat, Darkslide, for that those 5 gifted subs.
Let's go.
Over on Tech Alpha. Thank you very much, Darkslide. Appreciate that. So that was more or less my last couple weeks. Nothing particularly crazy, just kind of steady as she goes. Very thrilling reading, and now here we are. So we've got, there's a fair amount of gaming news, a couple of bigger things happening, but we're only going to tackle that in which the folks at home have put in over here on patreon.com/lagtv. This one's not even Patreon or patron locked. As long as you're even just following over on Patreon. When we do casts like this, oftentimes I'll open it up to anyone that's even like a free member. Like maybe they've dropped out for a couple of months. So they're in between, being paid subscribers. If we do, a question and answer stuff, oftentimes we'll open it up. That's what we're doing today as well, except we're also getting our news. So let's talk about some video game news that they want us to talk about. Let me read through this list here and see what we've found. So Kentis asks, and he's even got a little addendum here at the end of this. It's kind of funny. Have you guys ever platinumed, which in this instance is like the PlayStation version of 100%ing, really, or getting all the achievements, etc., a game before, or completed all trophies? What about the game made you want to achieve that level of completion? He said, I just did so for Ghost of Tsushima. Said, P.S. I assume this might be a no for Jeff because, in quotation marks, ain't nobody got time for that. But you might actually have. I think you have, in fact, trophied or platinumed a game or two in your time. At least maybe not on PlayStation, but maybe back in the Xbox days.
Yeah, I mean, I've 100% Mario 64. I've done that a couple of times. And that's a game that makes you want to do it. It's just fun. And it's just the way the game is set up. I've done it on the Xbox on the Xbox 360 for a couple of games in terms of like 100% achievements. And I can't recall which games those were. Some of them were more arcadey style games, but not many of them. I mean, it's pretty hard to like completely 100% clear a game. Like,
the 360 era stuff was a little harder than the trophies on PlayStation. The trophy system on PlayStation seems to be a little bit. It's not that it's less work in games, but on the 360 there was like some. Because back then it was still new territory, kind of. So there was like some shit where it was like, beat the game on the 3rd Tuesday of fucking like March, and it's gonna be raining outside, and the fucking like all these like crazy, conditions to be able to get one of the achievements. And so 100%ing stuff was harder to do sometimes. I'm trying to think. I mean, I know I have.
Yeah.
And I think with the gamer score, I could probably go back still and probably find ones that I have. But same with you. Some of it was also just older games pre-tracking. So, obviously Mario 64 being one, Mario Kart 64, a lot of stuff on the 64, because I only owned maybe 15 games across the life cycle of my N64, because we were renting a lot back then too. But a lot of them I did play so much that I did everything in them. And then with the 360, at least up front, when it was really popular to try to get like the biggest gamer score, people were renting games or whatever just to get like easy points. Like there were websites and forums dedicated to like which games have the easiest 1,000 gamer score that you can achieve. Can you do it in a rental period? And then they just go and rent it, no matter how shit the game was, just to try to pump the score up. Recently, I more or less 100%ed Expedition 33. So that's a really recent one that I did. But as far as like the back half of that, where it was asking what about the game made you want to achieve that level of completion? It was just a fucking they were just good games. Like when a game is really, really, really good, you're not thinking about setting a goal of 100%ing it. At least I don't. I'm just playing the game because I want to play the game. I want to see everything there is that the game has to offer. Sometimes if I sit out and I say, well, I'm going to 100% this game, it's usually I'm just saying that shit. It's not because I know that I actually want to. It's like setting a goal to achieve. But with Expedition 33, that wasn't necessarily the case. I just wanted to play the game. I just wanted to see everything it had. So I just did it. And it was the same back in the day, I'm sure, for you with Mario 64 or whatever. You were just playing the game because you loved the game and you wanted to see everything that it had. So you just did it.
That's true. Yep.
Like you weren't sitting there going, man, I should probably platinum trophy this game. You just did it because it was a game that you enjoyed playing. So, that's probably the main reason for me. I have like one or two times when Brian and I were playing, for example, shitty games done slow back in the day. It wasn't a perfect 100% because some people consider the 100% collecting all the weapons, but we did that with Final Fantasy 13. And don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. We got paid a lot of money to do it, but don't do that.
Well, that's why we did it. But
yes,
yeah, like if you're not getting paid a lot of money,
don't
do that.
Definitely don't. Not worth. Orion, let me see here. Let's see here. I'm going to try to keep the tech support stuff for tech support stuff. Although what I just asked is probably fucking tech support, so I guess this doesn't matter. We're not even going to do segments. We're just rolling.
Just
today.
Roll it, man.
Roll it.
YOLO.
Orion. It's 2026. The world is on fire. I mean, we're already there. Kathleen Kennedy is still somehow making Star Wars, Star Wars, but at least an eagerly awaited game has been released and you can have an entire day to focus solely on it. What does that game session look like for you if money is no factor? Where do you play? What do you eat and drink? What game is it that would hook you? By the childhood nostalgia, it can be a brand new game or concept, re-release, remaster, sequel, or prequel, or existing game that you magically get to experience for the first time again. He said, as an example, I'd pick Halo Combat Evolved all day with a rum and coke, all the dip in the world, and an ample supply of chips.
Yes.
And a pizza that contains extreme amounts of meat with a name so majestic it has pita frothing at the mouth.
I mean, so we're picking a game that we would want to like re-experience for the first time,
or just or just a game that I guess he's just leaving a note. Anything. Where do you play it? Are we playing this shit in a theater? Are we playing like where are we playing this shit?
Ooh. Well, I mean, if I'm re-experiencing something, a game, I'm going 007 GoldenEye. And I'm playing it on a CRT TV with all my boys. Split screen, 4-way split screen. We're going ham. You know, we got lots of Coca-Cola, lots of chips. The room's smelling like ass. You know, we're just discovering like all proximity mines modes and all this other nonsense. We're fighting because somebody wants to play Odd Job. You know, I'm going right back to 007, man. And it's not because the game is the best shooter game ever, but it was the experience of it. It was it was sort of almost the first of its kind on that level. It was so much fun. And I mean, you could play that shit for days, weeks, months. I mean, I'm sure that there's still probably adults my age that still nostalgically get boys together to play 007 GoldenEye.
I did that deep into my fucking 20s. I was like 27 still doing that shit. Had the guys coming over, literally went on Kijiji, found a CRT, 32-inch CRT that somebody was giving away. It was in good shape. It was an old Sony Trinitron. Weighed 400 fucking pounds. Brought that home and took up a corner of my storage space just to store this massive, stupid fucking television. And then I had like a sheet of plywood that I would then put on what was my coffee table at the time in the living room. So when they came over, we had a place to put this fucking TV. And then we just sat on the couch, split screen, GoldenEye. It was Crimp and Joel, because we were doing that all through high school. Crimp, Joel, me, and then usually the fourth was like usually like Seamus or something at the time. Yep. And we kept the dream alive. We kept doing the same thing. We ordered the same pizza. We had the same drinks. We did that shit all the way into damn near 30 years of age. And so it was, I'm sure there's people doing that right now. 100%. No doubt in my mind. I mean, there's lots of like nostalgia picks and stuff that I could definitely roll with. I'm going to go for like you picked a really good one in that regard. I'm going to pick something that I don't think anyone's going to expect. And I'm going to be thinking outside the box a little bit. I'm going to go with, what was it? Geometry Wars Retro Evolved.
Okay.
In the Las Vegas Sphere.
Wow. Oh, so you want to just absolutely just go to town. You want to be, I mean, can you imagine
Tell me that shit wouldn't slap.
Oh. Dude, I feel like you have to be high while you're doing it. I mean, it would just be like, oh.
I feel like even sober, you're getting fucked.
Yeah.
With that game in the Sphere. I feel like you don't even, if you went in high, you might not come out. You might just die.
True.
That might be your final resting place. I'm gonna go with that. I think is a good, like out there, or like Res HD would be another good one in the Sphere. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, you already nailed it. I mean, that one, like the coach co-op, or like the multiplayer, GoldenEye era type situation. I mean, if I was going back and like re-experiencing a game or whatnot, I mean, shit, you get all sorts of them, but it's always like, it's always, with the boys or with somebody else. So whether it's you and I going back to the summer where we totally above board had every PlayStation game ever made in a binder and then blasted like fucking 40 games in one summer, or me being even younger playing some obscure game in Brian's bedroom while Schwanda brought in the fucking apples, peanut butter, and cheese, and we're playing Azure Dreams when I'm like fucking like 9 years old or some shit. That's the magic, right? That's the fucking magic. Because there's a pairing between the games, playing with the boys or your friends, and then also you're a kid and you have zero responsibility other than school. So I think for me as an adult, everyone that's as an adult, experiences this to some degree, is responsibilities are like the fucking filter that makes it harder to enjoy the things you enjoyed as a kid. Because you're playing something And in the back of your mind or whatever, you're constantly thinking of 1,000 things that need to get done, that you haven't gotten done, but you're just trying to take a break. And just those thoughts passing through your mind is enough to take the edge off, the excitement, the being invested in a game that you're playing. And so I think, that's why when people choose games that are their favorites of all time, they're almost always when they're 10 years old. Young enough that, like, school isn't really a major factor yet. You've got all this time off. You're spending a lot of time with friends, and games are completely experienced unburdened.
Yep.
Without, because it's not like you're not playing games now that are better and even more amazing than when we were kids. Like, there are examples of that. But when you're an adult, man, you look it through, you're looking through a responsibility filter.
Yes.
And it takes the fucking fun.
Well, especially when you're paying for it too,
Yeah,
like you're paying for the game,
Yeah,
you're using
yeah.
your time, like, you just, as a kid, you don't really give a shit, Like, I don't know how many times I've played games as a kid. I mean, there has been for sure, but where I've played games as a kid and the game sucks so bad where I'm just like raging out and I just don't, like, I hate it, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck this. Like, even pretty bad games, I would still just play and have fun with it, But now it's like I play a bad game. I'm like, nah, bro, this ain't it.
No, I don't have the time for this.
Ain't nobody got time
Can't
for
do
that.
it. It's true. Yeah, it's true. I don't know if you're like this too. Well, I do know you're like this. But it's also for the same reason why I have a really hard time relaxing on vacation. So, like, I'm on vacation, but it's hard for me to not just think, I just spent all this money and I'm not working simultaneously. What the fuck? And then I had the hardest time just letting go. My wife, not a fuck given. She's out there just happy. And she's the one paying for most of it, to be fucking honest, half the time, because she's the one that wants to go on the trip. So I just say to her, I'm like, look, I'll pay for some of this shit, but, if you want to go, I ain't dropping all this money on the fucking crazy trip. And then we'll go. And she's just happier than a fucking pig and shit. And the whole time I'm walking around going, oh my God, the amount of money that's.
Oh my God. What you want?
I could be
we
working
gotta go to
right
dinner
now.
again? Oh my God. Oh man. Honey, what are you having, honey? Oh, I'm gonna have this steak, and I think I'm gonna get some lobster tails, and I think we're gonna get a bottle of wine, and we're on vacation, so let's just go and get. I've always wanted to try this one, so we're just gonna go. And you're just like, oh my God. Yeah.
And you know what sucks is that even happens when you're living inside your means. Like, it's not even like you've gone beyond. It's even when you're staying in your lane and you still get hit with that shit. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. Let's see here. This is random as fuck. I'm gonna ask it because I don't. Volkus asks. This one's for you, Mr. Black. He said, as a landlord, what's your stance on electric vehicle chargers? For, against, case by case?
I'm not against them.
Like,
do you have any, like, from a landlord standpoint?
Yeah, for if somebody, I think what he's probably asking is, let's say you're renting out like a semi-detached, yeah, and it doesn't have one already, but then the person renting has an EV, which is more common these days, generally speaking.
Yep.
And they're hoping to get a level 2 charger because otherwise they've got to plug it into a 120 volt for fucking 4.5 days to get 3.5 miles of range. So they come to you and you're like, hey, yo, any chance we could hook up on this L2 on this bitch? Are you, as a landlord, down for fronting the cost on getting the property ready for a charger? No.
Hell fucking no. Fronting the cost? Listen, if you want your charger, which, by the way, if this was just a new tenant, like if they were applying and they're like, hey, I've got a car, I need EV, can you put this in for me? It's a big no for me, dog.
Yeah.
Not a fucking chance.
Yeah.
If I've got a long-term tenant, like, and I have some tenants that have been with me for 8-9 years, if they're like, yo, we're really considering getting an EV, we need to upgrade the charger, we need to put a charger on here. My thing to them is, well, no problem, but you're gonna pay for it. Like, if you want the charger, That it's not on me to expense your luxury. There's no way in fuck. And I mean, these tenants could not pay rent. They could move the next year. They could, there's a ton of different stuff they could do. Plus, also, if the power isn't in their name, which it is on these single family homes and stuff like that, then it's a double no. Like, I don't even care if you're paying for the thing. I'm not paying to charge your car. So, like, I would be for it if the tenants understood that it's their expense. They can pay for it. They want the car. My house doesn't. Like, if not, you got to go and look for a place that has that amenity for you. Yeah. It's not on me to go and service your luxuries. That'll never.
Have you ever?
And I don't think that single landlord that ever would do that. Like, what landlord's doing that?
Have you ever thought of putting one into like a place, like in the future at some point, to have it as like an incentive to charge more money or some shit because you have it there versus somebody else?
No. The only way that I would ever put, like, say, 1 at an apartment building or 2 at an apartment building, if the government was literally paying me or paying for it all, or there's such a huge kickback
subsidy,
a subsidy, so that, you know, it makes sense for me to do this. Dude, we live in Nova Scotia. We're not going to attract new people to charge their fucking electric cars to get more applications. The application, you get a unit that it needs to be rented out, and you've automatically got 40 fucking applications to begin with, without the headaches of putting up all this stuff. It's not you know, it's not like I got to add all these amenities to my building to attract potential people that are renting.
Can I just say, fuck electric vehicles. Like, fuck them. Fuck them. If you got one out there, this is not me saying fuck you. Like, just let me just tidy that up real quick. But just fuck them. I think electric vehicles might be one of the dumbest fucking things that we've ever pushed for at such a pace in a very long time. I think they're fucking retarded, to be honest with you. Like,
I mean,
for a number of reasons. Like, a huge number of reasons. And it's not like I'm a big petrol head. I don't give a fuck. I have a hybrid, for God's sake. But hybrid was what we needed to push for. Not fucking full electric. Like, there are so few places in which a full electric car makes any fucking sense.
Net zero, Adam.
Well, okay. Like, fine. But you can't expense that on the general population.
Who else is going to pay for it, Adam?
In a 15-year period.
It's just not going to happen.
But like, even if, and I know you're saying this tongue in cheek, but like,
I know,
you know, if anyone ever said, like, a politician says, well, we're trying to get to net zero, I'd say, okay, so play this one out logically. Every Tesla on the road weighs as much as a Ford F-150.
Yep.
I don't suppose you can piece together what that might mean for infrastructure cost and the vehicles that are repairing the roads. I don't know if you're aware of this. They're not electric. In fact, they're diesel.
Adam, don't talk sense, Adam. They don't like that. Don't. There's no point.
Shot in the dark on this one. You know, many downtown cores, parking, real bitch. You know, especially, you know, here in Halifax. My God, you try to find parking downtown Halifax. It's a good thing Halifax you could walk across it, because if you couldn't, shambles. Okay. Most of them are in a city. What is parking normally? It's in a parkade. Yeah? You think a parkade built in the last 20 years is rated to suddenly take everyone parking an electric vehicle inside of that fucking building?
No.
Of course not. It's gonna fucking exponentially increase the weight in a fucking parkade. They're not rated for that weight. They were never engineered to take that amount of weight. You can't fucking do it.
Nova Scotia Power is licking their lips.
Oh, they're thinking,
you want
like,
they're
what's that? You want to charge your car on our grid?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fucking okay.
Well,
yeah, listen,
you think you're saving a bunch of money,
Oh no, bro, you're getting fucking reamed. Listen, I got no problem with electric cars. It's not my jam. All right. I understand the craze about them. Like some people that are very passionate about their electric vehicles, but like, bro, it ain't for me. I don't think I'm ever gonna own an electric vehicle ever. You know,
50
unless the
years from now, I probably
yeah,
will.
unless the technology has gotten to a point
Yeah.
where it just makes
If I'm
feasible
alive.
sense. But yeah, no. I mean, do I think they're bad? I don't think they're bad. But at the same time, dude, we also live in Canada. It is cold 5-6 months of the year.
You lose like
Cold.
20% of your fucking
You lose so
recharge
much.
speed just
You
off of
lose-
the cold.
It's just anyway.
But here's the big.
I could.
I'm a go for you. Listen. Okay, if you're in the fucking market, don't do it. Don't do it. For one, look at the depreciation on electric vehicles right now. Oh my god.
Massive. Worse than gas.
50%
Worse than gas.
depreciation in like 2 years. 50% in like 2 years. The cost of a car is not just the fact that you can save $700 a year in gas by paying $700 in electric and then not having to pay the extra $700 for what most people are spending around $1,400 to $1,800 a year in gas, at least up here in Canada, right? So you're saving $700.
Yep.
That's over a hybrid.
Yep.
Okay, great. How much more money does it cost just to buy the electric vehicle in the first place? They're normally, what, right now, 10 grand above a hybrid on average to go full electric?
Give or take.
In that pocket? So, before you even talk about depreciation differences between a full electric, hybrid, gas, even within the same brand, right? You already got to be driving this motherfucker for years to have a hope of paying off the difference in the cost of the vehicle, and that's assuming you paid cash.
Oh yeah.
If you're leasing
you finance it
or financing, you're getting fucked. And then you get depreciation of 50% over the life of your lease or worse, or even if you financed. So the cost of your vehicle in 5 years, between the two, you have successfully, one, barely made a dent if you are somebody that's like, I'm saving the environment. No, you're not. Two, you have now put it, you might not have put a dent in the fucking CO2 situation. You have put one in your bank account, a massive fucking dent, all for the sake of vibing on going full electric before 2030. It's a bad idea. You're burning money. You're fucking the infrastructure. You're not actually fucking doing anything for a carbon footprint. If everyone that was talking about going electric went HEV, just a hybrid electric vehicle, because most of the bad shit is idling in cities. Yep. My 10-year-old hybrid, first gen RAV4 hybrid, can idle around Halifax all day, and I get almost 40 miles to the gallon on a 10-year-old hybrid. They're even better now. My parents' Camry does 4.2 liters per 100 kilometers. It's basically free. Yeah. They're almost paying you to drive the fucking car, for Christ's sake. It is so cheap. So if you're really worried about saving the environment, but then not reaming yourself, the electric vehicle is a massive waste of fucking money. And again, we ain't got nowhere to plug these fuckers in. The range is not that fucking incredible. If the battery dies, get fucked. In a hybrid, if the battery dies, an HEV, you're fine. Now instead of 4.2, you're getting 7 liters per 100, which is still 3 liters per 100 better than full gas in most vehicles. And that's a 4-banger. If you're talking about a 4-banger, fuck you if you get a 6. You're going like 12 liters per 100. So, I mean, listen. Tangent, but I fucking, the electric vehicle shit is so fucking dumb. I hate it. We should be pushing for hybrid. not electric.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I'll just end it with this. I don't have any. I don't look at people weird when they have electric
No,
cars.
this is not about them.
I think some of them. Yeah, I think some of them are pretty fucking cool. But
The idea
if
of
the
why.
idea, yeah, I think when people use the whole like I'm saving the planet shit, it then I kind of roll my eyes a little bit. I get it. If you want to be like a first adopter of this stuff and you enjoy it, you don't mind spending that extra money to have this luxury in your life, and you don't mind all of the. I mean, you're an early adopter. I mean, this shit is still early. Then by all means, like go and enjoy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like have fun with your Tesla and fucking your, Mustang, electric Mustang and all this other stuff. Yeah, your Mustang E. Like, I'm cool. I mean, it's very sleek. It's cool. It don't make noise. Like, all right, infinite torque. Like, I get it, man.
They don't make noise, but they still pipe the stereo of a car making noise into the cabin to make you feel like you're doing something.
Yeah. So like, I'm whatever. But to answer your question, I will never pay out of pocket to have somebody charge their fucking Tesla at a rental property. It's not happening, bro. Take your fucking Tesla and go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, with all due respect, this just ain't it.
Yeah. Got a couple people asking about this, Mr. Black. Stormgate leaving early access. We talked about that ever so briefly in a cast this week, but it is official. It's a 1.0. We're here. Stormgate has officially decided that it is good enough for 1.0, which I was kind of surprised because it feels like it wasn't that long ago that we just talked about the fact that they nearly re-fucking crafted half of the game's mechanics. It feels like that was maybe 2 months ago. And so when I heard it went full 1.0, I was like, God damn. They are confident in these dramatic changes that they just made not that long ago. But it's true. It's out. Of course, I haven't played it. I know Mr. Black played it, as we discussed before, about 3 weeks ago or so, which was during that last major update, probably just before they launched for 1.0. I don't know how much changed between, the last 3 weeks. But you seem to be relatively positive about the changes that they've made in the direction that they're taking Stormgate now, Mr. Black. Do you feel like there's some legs in it now that weren't there before, or do you think that they still have quite a steep hill to climb to break out?
Their average player base over like the last year has been like around 80 players. Now since it's out, no, it's bad. Now since it's out, like right now as we speak, there's 721 people playing.
Okay.
So I mean, it's going up, but at these numbers, the game will die. I mean, it just will not. There's just it's quite literally impossible. Like they did, like from the stuff that I've been reading up on Reddit and stuff, it seems like it's about $1 million a month in burn rate to have these servers up and running and doing all of the stuff that they do. And with 721 concurrent players, just say 1,000 concurrent players pretty much around the clock, it's not going to be enough. And a lot of these people have already done Kickstarter and all this other stuff. Like, they've already paid for the campaign and all that other stuff that is going on. So, I'm not sure. I mean, it's been a peak of just under 1,000 players since the game got launched, 2 days ago. There are a few streamers playing it, but once they stop, I don't know. There's really no big content creators that are like putting out a bunch of content for it, at least not yet. I will say this though, the game is so much better than what it was before. I actually like the Stormgates in Stormgate. I think it's a cool mechanic. It's better than the just the random creeps that they had before. The 1v1 is really shaped up nicely. Obviously they're still dealing with balance and stuff, but I mean, just the artwork and the feel of the game, the smoothness of it has gone leaps and bounds over where it was even 6 months ago, a year ago. But I feel like the damage has been done. Like, they have made too many mistakes with this game. And I just don't. I mean, the game when it first launched in open beta or closed beta or whatever it was, I think it was open beta. There was 4,400 concurrent players. I mean, with that many players, we could probably get some momentum and do something. But since then, a peak month has been, 860 players. And then it just keeps going down from there. And that was a month after the 4,400. Now we're back to new peak besides the 4,400. But if you've got 4 or 5 times less players playing your game on release than what you did when it was like early stage alpha, you're in some trouble. You're just in some trouble. I'm just speaking objectively. And I think that the team did a great job with what they with the size of the team they have, the budget they had, stuff like that. But I think there's just too many mistakes leading up. I think they just released too early. Maybe it was pressure from investors. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for it. I hope that it can get some traction. I mean, we'll see where it's at again next month. But not looking good, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I as somebody that's only looked at it from the outside, and when it got that update that you played a few weeks ago, I mean, I watched some people playing it a bit to see, what had changed, and like you were saying, I mean, there's dramatic, especially in a 1v1 environment, dramatic changes to the flow of the game. The largely because of how they changed how like creeping and stuff was basically completely axed for the most part. They've now moved on to like these almost like point control, I guess you would call them, kind of deals on the maps. You know what I mean? Like you're going out and trying to basically like control these areas. So it's a pretty substantial shift. I still don't know if it's better than what they had, or if it's just easier for them to balance around than what they had, perhaps. I still think that the game's biggest problem is that it's still caught in some sort of middle land, no man's land of being, between StarCraft and Warcraft 3. Like, it feels like it's just kind of like in the purgatorial lands between the two. Which on paper might not sound like the worst place in the world to be, but at the same time, you got to think about it. There's a reason why there's a StarCraft and why there's a Warcraft. It's because they are different enough from one another that they can stand alone, and the mechanics are unique enough that they can be two totally different experiences. You start trying to walk between StarCraft and Warcraft simultaneously, and you probably just end up with people saying, "I'd rather just play StarCraft," or "I'd rather just play Warcraft." Like they're not getting the best of either world. They're just getting some, up the middle kind of an experience. And that's probably going to be one of their own things, is trying to maybe that's why they changed what they did. Maybe they're trying to find a lane that doesn't feel like StarCraft or Warcraft so dramatically. Maybe they're trying to find something to separate themselves, which I don't know if you do that at this point. I don't know if it's even possible for them. That said, I think that, I wish them well. I hope that they can actually pull this off and maybe get some traction because the RTS community can always use some more. There's other games from other companies that are cooking right now in the RTS genre, and we'll have to see how they also precipitate. But for now, they're kind of they're leading the charge more or less. And so we got to wish them all the luck in the world, at least from that perspective. But I don't know. For me, if I had more time to like dedicate to playing an RTS right now, and somebody came out with, if we had a Warcraft 4 that did to Warcraft what StarCraft 2 did to Brood War, then I'd be all over that all day, because I've always preferred Warcraft's gameplay over StarCraft for me.
Not for me. I mean, but I get why you would, and I see why people enjoy it. And this this was that. This was kind of like more Warcraft, but it's really gone like.
Well, they walked
it's
away from it
almost
now.
Yeah, it's almost StarCraft, man. But
Yeah.
it's StarCraft now with, objective Stormgates that kind of
Yeah, that's like point
pull up in
control.
different areas. Point control. Yeah, point control RTS. Yeah. And I like that because it's unique. It's cool. And it still feels like StarCraft. But at the same time, I don't know how good that's going to be for casual players. Like, they really need this like 3v3 mode and a really solid co-op and a customs stuff. Like, I know they have map editor and things now, but I mean, dude, they're still working on things. They're still like not like the game is released, but there's still so much that isn't done. And it's probably because they have to release now. Like, they're probably running out of money. Like, they need to get a product out.
If
So,
I was, I know I'm not a game developer for probably lots of good reasons, but if I was in their shoes, I wouldn't have walked away from Warcraft. I would have gone further into it. Because for me, this is how I look at it. Warcraft 3, you can still play Warcraft 3 right now, or Frozen Throne. You can do that. It's not the greatest experience. It's kind of similar to going back and playing Brood War, for all intents and purposes, in terms of like going back in a time machine. But you know what doesn't feel like going back in time, because it's still new enough, and it feels more evergreen, is StarCraft 2. And if you're going to walk away from Warcraft and get closer to StarCraft, I feel like you're risking the player base just looking at it and going, why would I play this if we're going to just be more like StarCraft when I can just also go play StarCraft? Where there are more people, it's more curated, it is a bigger budget, it's just an outright better product, but they're moving closer to StarCraft. So if I was going to be moving in either direction, like if I was them and I'm stuck between Warcraft and StarCraft, because they had the creep camps and all that shit, I'm going, well, I can either go this way, and then I get even more compared to StarCraft, except there are still tens of thousands of people playing StarCraft 2 right now. Yep. Or I go this way, where there's not tens and tens of thousands of people playing Warcraft 3, and I try to do a slightly better modernized take of a Warcraft 3 formula, and maybe I can capture people there. But capturing StarCraft 2 players, that's no fucking feat. That's no easy feat, bro. That is a challenge, and I wish them luck. We'll see how it all pans out, but it's gonna be a difficult ride one way or the other. Let's see here. Efrain asks, thoughts on payment processor shenanigans, or seeing Battlefield 6. So Battlefield 6 is something that somebody else was asking about as well. But the payment processor thing, do you know anything about that, Mr. Black, or are you too employed?
Say that one more time.
Do you know anything about the payment processor, the MasterCard Visa shenanigans in the last couple of weeks? Or are you far too employed?
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about that, bro.
I don't know anything. Let me bring you up to speed from all the unemployed people out there that know lots about it. So, basically, there's a ultra Karen group in Australia, the name of which is escaping me right now. I cannot remember the name of this group, but they are run by a bunch of evangelical types, stay-at-home moms with too much time on their hands, and they're out there, just doing their best to save the young girls from the modern world. And so, lots of these games are looking at video games and going, oh my God, there's so much of this bad stuff out there. It's influencing the young ladies out there. It's toxic. It's going to be making their lives even worse. We got to put a stop to this. And of course, they can't just go to Steam or the Epic Game Store, or, in this instance, one of the biggest ones hit itch.io and just tell them to stop selling these games. But you know what they could do? They could lobby the payment processors that these platforms rely pretty heavily on, and then basically stiff arm them by, having the payment processors threaten to pull their services if these games are not taken down off the services that they're running on. And so they went to Visa and MasterCard, and they lobbied them and screamed and yelled at them, screeched into the void over there, until they finally said #for the kids. And then you started seeing Visa and MasterCard going to like itch.io and other places, other storefronts, and saying, if you want to continue having our services as payment processors, you've got to remove these games. And so they started having to remove a bunch of games. And this was getting into the point where they were where it was like Grand Theft Auto was going to start to be coming into question about like which platforms they were going to be available on and whatnot. And it became a big discourse around the, a couple things. Chiefly, the idea that because there's only a couple of top tier payment processors like MasterCard and Visa, that they do have a lot of power, indirect power, in strong-arming the platforms that utilize their services as payment processors. So there was a big discussion around that, because the moment that, Visa and MasterCard stepped in like 3 days, it immediately had a major impact on what platforms were providing to customers, and therefore stopping or molding what people had access to purchasing that were perfectly legal. Nothing illegal about them. And so there's a big discussion around that. So I guess the question is, how excited would it make you to know that Visa and MasterCard are apparently so easily lobbied into attempting to control that which people can purchase on these platforms? I mean, it's a bit of a rhetorical question. I think anyone with a brain goes, that's fucking bad. They should not have that power.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's
pretty bad.
They should.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's fucking terrible. I mean, it's
one thing. It's one thing for Visa or MasterCard to like pull out of like supporting OnlyFans if they just don't want to have their payment processor like, supporting that stuff. Okay. Sure. But I mean, bro, we're taking it to another smeva.
It's well, what it reminded me of was, to some degree, was video games are frequently, it's never movies or anything like that. Video games always seems to be the testing bed for both private companies and government to see what the general populace is willing to allow them to encroach upon them in the name of saving the kids. Like, video games always seems to be that target to start testing things. And so, whether it's the government with writing some sort of giant fucking omnibus bullshit, for the kids stuff, and they haven't had to do this with games recently, but they're doing it with just the internet, right? Here's a giant omnibus bill that's 70,000 pages long, and it said, the name of the bill is hashtag for the kids, but the hashtag for the kids part is supposed to be, protecting kids on the internet, and it covers 3 pages out of the 70,000 page omnibus. And then they just say, well, are you against this bill? Are you against hashtag for the kids? How dare you? Are you supporting the PDF files out there in the world running wild on 4chan? What are you saying? Do you not want to save the kids? And then you're like, well, there's 69,997 other pages in this bill, and none of it has to do with the kids. There's just 3 pages here. You've just named it hashtag for the kids, but it's actually like all this other shit over here. Could we not make like 5 different bills into this? And like, it's not that we don't want to save the kids, but could we maybe separate it from all the other shit so we're not getting like swamped with a bunch of nonsense while we're saving the kids? So it always feels like video games in some capacity are used as a testing ground. And so I looked at it like that. I looked at it like, okay, if it's that easy for a group to lobby Visa and MasterCard, and it had that kind of an impact that quick, I think it signals a couple things. I think, one, it signals that we don't have enough payment processors. There's not enough competition in the market. You can't have 2 major players that control 90+% of the game that's not in cash in hand or writing a personal check run the show, because the moment that they decide to do something, it closes down entire fucking segments.
Yep.
And you're fucked. So I think that raises a little bit of a red flag there, that we've maybe gotten to a point where we need to perhaps consider figuring out ways of removing some of their indirect power in the way that they do. Because for better or worse, this world is now built on credit. So because the world's built on credit, if you have 2 credit payment processors basically running the fucking show, by default, you better believe it means that they have a lot of strong arming power to do a lot of shit in the market that they shouldn't be able to, but by nature do. You can't buy a house without a good credit score. You can't buy a car really without a decent credit score. You need to use credit, even if you'd rather live on cash. You don't really have that option 90% of the time unless you put yourself in a position by using credit so that in the future, maybe you can live off cash. Mm-hmm. But most people don't have that option. So like it's too much power for too few entities that are global. They're not even like specific to like North America. So yeah, well, I think that raises that question. Now they started walking that stuff back a bit after people started calling them so much. They started calling their support lines. They were getting flooded with people going, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" To the point where Visa started going, "Hey, could you maybe like not call our lines with this stuff?" And people were like, "Could you maybe stop playing God with the market?" And so they started to back off on it a little bit. MasterCard outright said that they weren't doing it, which was hilarious because we watched them do it in real time and there's receipts, but they were like, "Nah, that's not us. Why? We would never do that. What are you talking about? There's nothing to see here." So it was a bit of a shit show, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, that's there. It is, like anything, that's why theoretically we're supposed to have regulatory bodies that ensure that no one, or in many instances, because of globalization, a few companies get too big, because even if it's not a monopoly in the sense that it is a single entity, you can get indirect collusion when you only have like 2 or 3 companies fucking owning everything. So there's a reason why we have these things in place. So hopefully that gets somebody's attention to perhaps take a peek into just how much power is going on over there. As for Battlefield 6, have you seen any of Battlefield 6 yet, Mr. Black, whatsoever?
I did. I watched like, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes of it here and there. I mean, it looks pretty. It's a pretty looking game.
Lots of destruction back. They really made a point.
Destruction back. I mean, I'll be honest, it looks way better than the last couple of Battlefields they put out.
Not a high bar, but true.
It's not a high bar, but it does
good to see.
It is good to see. It seems like it's a raging success so far. I mean, they're like the servers, like there's fucking queues of hundreds of thousands of people. I think overall it's good for gaming. I think it's like, it's obviously good for Battlefield or EA. Is it a game I'm going to sit down and grind and play? No.
No, of course not.
It's just not. And I used to we used to play a ton of Battlefield.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like on the 360, was like Bad Company 2 or
Bad Company 2 was the one we played a lot of.
Bad Company 2. I mean, I had a lot of fun with that. And I'm sure that that there's fun to be had here. It's not my jam anymore. I wish them nothing but success. Part of me likes to see Battlefield up there just because it's such it's Battlefield, you know what I mean? Like, it's better than, seeing like, Halo, although arguably, Halo is probably at the best place in terms of like gameplay that's been in
a long time.
Many years. But at the same time, I mean, it's still where it's at. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to be like a hater on Battlefield to hate on it. It's just not my jam in 2025. It's that simple.
Yeah. I'll definitely be playing it. I mean, I'm not going to grind it for sure, but I'll definitely be playing it. I just miss having more variety at the upper tiers of the FPS market. We in the early or the late noughts, early tens, I mean, you had a lot of great and relatively varied multiplayer shooters to choose from. I mean, the pantheon really was Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo. You had 3, and they were different enough that you could play all of them and feel fine playing all of them, and they were all really good games with huge player bases. And then as Call of Duty's success went up and everyone chased that fucking Call of Duty train, even Halo got Call of Duty, ified. Battlefield did the same thing. Everyone else fell off because, again, it's almost like Stormgate. Like, why would you play a shittier version of Call of Duty when you can just go play Call of Duty?
Call of Duty, yeah.
And so, it's good to see. Now, we do know, to some degree, that I think that some of the success, no joke, is because a lot of the people working on this one are new. The development staff is largely new. And so they have likely cut a lot of the, a crew that was making the last couple, which how they were fucking
all bad.
Dog shit. They almost killed the brand. Like, Battlefield literally almost fully died. In fact, I don't doubt to some degree that if this one didn't pop off, they'd be seriously contemplating whether or not they were going to
selling and just
moving on. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's good to see that it's doing well. It's good to see it back to its roots. You've got your classes back. And it's not like the other ones where it was like all classes can do all things. If you're an engineer, you're an engineer. If you're a medic, you're a medic. If you're a fucking if you're a heavy, you're a heavy. If you're a soldier, you're a soldier. So, so that was great to see. The destruction is nice to see come back. The vehicle focus is nice to see come back. And now we just have to see if they can really nail it. And so far, like you said, there's obviously a lot of interest. But you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Halo. When Infinite came out and they nailed that Halo, that modernized Halo gameplay, people were like, holy fuck, this feels really good. It feels like Halo. This is not Halo 5, where it felt like Call of Duty. This feels like Halo, and it's modern Halo. And people were very excited. Hundreds of thousands of fucking people just cramming their shit in there. And then they just dropped the ball. And so we have to see if Battlefield makes the same mistake 343 did, and they get all this attention and all this momentum, and then just fucking collapse under the weight of all the pressure of that, and then we're right back to fucking goddamn Warzone, basically still running the world with Nicki Minaj fucking cheek clapping during chicken dinners in Warzone. Please stop. We need stop. Fuck. Cheech and Chong fucking Nicki Minaj on top of Optimus Prime fucking hitting the gritty on Snoop Dogg. Like, stop. Can we get away from whatever the fuck that is, please? You have no idea how happy I was to just see soldiers in camo in Battlefield. I saw soldiers in camo in Battlefield and then went, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Just give me that. Don't give me Nerf guns. Don't give me fucking weird and whatever. Give me military weapons with people in the military and put me on a fucking field with M4A, whatever the fuck, 1 Abrams tanks. Give me that. And so far it looks like that's what we're getting. And so I'm hopeful that it'll do, because I'd love to be able to hop in. I haven't played any real shooter in ages because I don't like any of them at this point. They've kind of all homogenized into the same fucking just
like the same thing. Yeah.
It's just, so hopefully I have the beta key. So this weekend I'm going to try to get some time in, and then I'll have a more, solid opinion. I think the first two things I took away from the trailers though was, that Sledgehammer must have a fucking nuclear bomb strapped to the end of it, because when he broke the floor, it was the whole floor. It wasn't like, let me put a hole in this bitch. He dropped that hammer in an 8x10 room. Just fucking Mjolnir. That's what I said in the stream. I was like, this motherfucker wielding Mjolnir in this fucker? You hit the floor in 8x10 square. Just
let's
bam.
be real. Let's be real. If it was one sledgehammer hit and a little tiny fucking hole like that went in there, it'd be pretty fucking whack. He'd be sitting there for fucking 30 minutes like, hold the line, I'll get us down there.
But 80 square feet, could we maybe big enough to jump in? Like a 4x5, like a 3x5. This motherfucker brought out a master bedroom with one swing of that hammer. Shit got real. And then I saw one RPG rocket, rocket propelled grenade, or one RPG shot took the entire face of a building off. The whole fucking face off of one rocket. I was like, bro, there's 30 people out here. We need more than one rocket to take the face off of a fucking building. That shit's crazy work. But nevertheless, I am a little excited to see another player in the game. Hopefully it holds up, and they don't fuck this one up. Please God. Let me see here. What's the next? Ah, right. Yes. All right, so we got Xenon came in with a couple things here. First of all, he's saying, "Hey, I want a Star Citizen update. I got you, bro."
Oh, we just had one.
Just a little dabble.
It sucks. I hate doing it so frequently because then I don't get the big payoff like in 6 months.
Yeah, that's
when we
true.
Look and it's like, you know what I mean? Like if we look every fucking 3 weeks.
That's true. We'll do it this way. It's 853 million. That's a lot of money. We'll let that one cook. We'll see how it goes. They made $28 million in May. Fuck.
Damn.
That's it's just so much money. It's an insane amount of money. We already talked about the censorship thing. Tech support. Are there any games from your childhood that you never beat but would consider picking up again before you kick the bucket? Oh. I mean, there's lots of games I never finished when I was a kid. And like, there's probably a couple that I always said, I'll go back and finish that, and I probably never did. I'm just trying to think about what those might have been. I mean, I know, like, I never did, despite owning it. I don't think I ever fully finished Wind Waker. And I also don't think, like, that whole era of Zelda kind of was like out of my net. So Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, those would be a couple of ones that I would definitely consider at some point, especially since they've done so much, at least to Wind Waker. Man. There were some old RPGs that, I never got all the way through that I'd probably consider going back at some point that might be cool to see the end of. Trying to imagine. But generally speaking, I mean, usually when I liked a game, I beat it. Like, there weren't a lot of games that I got partway through and liked it and then never went back to completing it. Very few that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean,
there's games that I would like to go back and replay, but yeah, as far as that, like, I think those are probably the short list. It's probably just, because there was an era of Nintendo that I wasn't super invested in, despite owning a GameCube. So Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I don't give a fuck about Skyward Sword. That game, fuck that game. But Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are probably too. Do you have any that you never finished that you would think about going back at some point? I mean, you got a whole ass fucking wall back there. You've probably played a couple that never got all the way through.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'm just trying to think of like standout games. It's not really a whole lot like recently. There's been a few games on the Nintendo Switch that I haven't completed yet. I've been playing the new Donkey Kong. That's a lot of fun. My son is on the last boss now. He's been grinding. Same with Kayla. She's been playing it a lot too. So once they're done playing, because I got to play a bunch when I went to Montreal, so I had it at the airport and hotel and stuff. But I'm trying to think. I can't really think of a game that I would like go back and finish. I don't really know.
There's not many games that I really want to play and I'm enjoying. Like, I'll play it until I beat it. I can't really think of a whole lot of games that I like picked up, played, and then just not touched it again.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's
usually if I stop playing it, it's just like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Or something else comes out, and I'm like, I don't need to go back there. You know?
That's pretty much how it is for me. Like, if I like it, I'm beating the game. It's
Yes.
kind of how it's always been. So it's pretty uncommon for me to have gotten only part way through and never gone back and finished for sure. You know what? As a meme, I'll toss this one out here. Before I was a streamer, before we were doing content creation, I had true crime, streets of, I can't remember if it was LA or New York.
Okay.
I think it was New York. But I mean, there's two games. Like, those are both games, but I can't remember which one it was. True crime, it might have been Streets of LA. And I didn't hate it. You know, it was one of those like GTA Light kind of a situation. I got all the way to the last boss, and the last boss was a real fucking grind. Like, it was like I feel like I was fighting him for like 20 minutes straight, and I had him all the way down to like one fucking just sneeze on him. And it was a game where like the combat was largely like a lot of like fist fighting, especially in that last boss. And he unleashed a fucking like infinite ass combo when he was on his deathbed that took me from 100% health to 0. And I died. And I immediately turned the game off, took the disc out, and threw it in the garbage and never played again. So like, maybe someday, just to be able to say, fuck you, you're dead, maybe someday I'll have to go back and fucking, make the magic happen. But I just remember it was like 20 minutes, and I was like, oh my god, please be over. And then he literally, I swear to god, dude, it was like fucking Bruce Lee inhabited his fucking body, and he just unleashed the most ungodly fucking combo, and I'm trying to go guard and shit, and he's just like, he's just fucking me up. I'm like, fucking god damn it. I'm watching my health bar go down, and I'm losing my shit, because all I have to do is hit him once. Fucking killed me. Popped that game out, that bitch, threw that right in the garbage, never fucking played it again.
I think the only games that I can think of that I have those urges from time to time is arcade games.
Like, you got your arcade cabinet too out there too.
Yeah,
so
and I've gone back and because I can program it to have like infinite lives. Like Kai and I will go down and we'll play, like we beat The Simpsons, we beat X-Men, we beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
Did you do Golden Axe yet?
Did not do Golden Axe. We didn't do Battletoads yet either. But like those types of games, I have the urge to like
just go
replay
play
and try and beat. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Golden Axe is fire, and I remember it was a few years ago I went back and played it, and I was like, surely I can fucking beat this game at this point. No, the game whooped my ass. Those arcade games are fucking crazy work. I am not. I beat Battletoads, and for some reason I can't beat Golden Axe. Golden Axe, fuck, I die in the same place.
Bro, Golden Axe is no joke. It's no joke. If you ain't
every fucking time.
If you ain't got a large bankroll to keep popping fucking quarters into that machine,
that game must have made so much money for arcades back in the day, bro.
I mean, they were designed to be like that, and most of those games are like 3-hour, 4-hour maximum in length, right? And if you're super good, you can like beat them in 45 minutes. Like if you're just a god.
Yeah.
And like even 4 hours is like really, really long.
That's a lengthy bitch.
Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, I think Kai and I beat that in an hour and a half.
Does your cabinet have the ability to do light guns and shit? So if you were doing like,
I mean, there's plugins for you if it's USB and things, and they do have a sensor up top, so maybe.
Like House of the Dead or whatever the fuck,
yes.
That kind of shit.
Yeah. Yep, can do those. Yep.
I always liked those because those always felt like arcade games.
Yeah,
at the time. Like if I'm going to an arcade and I'm picking like, oh, here's the question. It's not even. I'm gonna toss this one out. But if I'm going into an arcade, and some of these are still a fucking thing. Like, what are your three go-tos in an arcade? For me, it was always Cruisin' USA was almost always one that I hopped in and played a lot of. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, so like it's House of the Dead, right? It's the fucking that's the
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
crazy. Yeah, because
No,
there's a
it's House
couple
of
of
the
games
Dead.
there's a couple of games that are like that. And then the third one that I played a fair amount of. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that one. I'm just going to skip right over to obviously the GOAT, which is the punching bag. That's obviously the
Oh
GOAT.
yeah, you love that. Yeah,
That's gotta be the GOAT.
My goat is Dance Dance Revolution. I mean, that's
Yes,
that's the
DDR
one. That's my
is
goat.
fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I mean, Turtles in Time is just such a classic for me.
That's a great
I love
one.
that. And I really enjoyed The Simpsons arcade. I liked Double Dragon a lot as well back in the day. I do like those shooter ones. I don't really like the newer ones like the Halo and
the newer ones are too much.
Yeah, but House of the Dead was a lot of fun and it was tough. So yeah, I mean, I just like arcade games in general. I like being able to pick up games and be collaborative with your friends, and it's a short experience and it's relatively tough. Some of them are like damn near impossible. But yeah,
Yes,
no,
yeah,
I'm
true.
I think it's cool.
Let's see. The Blaners said thoughts on the last season of Squid Game if you watched it. I watched season 2. I got halfway through season 2 and I quit. And so I haven't seen the last season. Which got split into like some sort of multi-meme thing or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be. Yeah, my thoughts on Squid Game are that was something that should have never been more than one season, but you understood why they made more. Because it was so successful that executives were never not going to go to the writer and say, I'm going to give you a shitload of money that you can't turn down until you make a season that was never supposed to exist. So you know going in, the writing isn't going to be as good. The payoffs aren't going to be as good because you know all of the tricks. What made Squid Game, the first one, so good was you didn't know the tricks. You didn't know what was coming. It was so unique and out there that you couldn't help it. But watch. Even though you knew people were going to get fucking memed, that was its staying power, was that, and the character development, and is the guy going to get all the way through? Who's going to actually survive this shit, etc., etc.? Are we going to find out more about, what's going on behind all this? As soon as you had that done, man, there was no way you were ever. I've heard, spoilers for the last season, and what I've heard, I won't say them in case people are going to watch it, is that might be some of the worst writing I've ever heard. Ever. Ever. Blue balls does not begin to describe how bad that sounds. So, yeah, I mean, I think Squid Game, the first season, is one of the most impactful, modern, single seasons of a TV show ever. That one actually bridged into, popular culture. Like, that one had an impact. So, definitely up there. And at the time, we knew when he was first asked, the writer, he just outright said, he's like, this was a one-off. This was never, there is no more. We wrote that bitch for one season. So it's not surprising that it's not particularly amazing. I know you watched the first season. Did you watch any of the second season or like any of the final stuff? No,
I haven't.
No, probably don't. Just
no, I'm not gonna.
Enjoy the fact that the first season was. Did you like the original Squid Game? I thought it was fire, to be honest. The first season.
It's a lie. The second season we watched 2 episodes, and then Kayla was having a nightmare because we would watch it like right before bed.
Oh god, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, like we'd basically fall asleep to the damn thing. And yeah, it's kind of whack, bro. It kind of went downhill. I'm just gonna keep it a buck.
But did you like the first season? Like when you originally watched the first season of Squid Game back in the day.
Yep.
Were you on board with that? Did you enjoy the first season, or did you think that Squid Game in general was whack?
I enjoyed the first season.
Yeah,
I did. I thought like the writing was a lot stronger than the second season. It was very clear because of like all of the success the first season had. They wanted to, do it again. And once you do that, right? Like, and then like the second season was cut up into, or no, that's a
the
lie.
last season
I actually
was like 2 or some shit.
I actually watched the second season.
Okay.
The third season, or I guess like season 2, part 2.
Yeah.
I've watched 2 episodes of that.
Okay.
So, yes. So
Gotcha.
because I think I don't know if that's actually season 3 or season 2, part 2. I'm
they
not sure.
really made it confusing. There's a 2-parter to end it. Like they did
But
that.
I haven't seen the conclusion. I'm quite literally like 2 episodes into the, and even the second half of the second season or season 2, it was getting a little stupid. It was like it became almost like action hero-y. It was like very weird, man. It's not. It just wasn't Squid Games anymore.
It's true. Let me see here. All right, we already did that. Jubinator. What's the next one? Oh, the Stop Killing Games thing. Do you know anything about the Stop Killing Games thing? I think we talked about it before briefly.
Stop Killing
Games initiative.
It sounds familiar.
That's
what was this from?
So it was a gentleman creator took it upon himself to create an initiative, over in the EU, because this is an EU thing specifically, where if you have enough signatures, then it gets passed on up, and the sitting government has to actually, at the very least, discuss it, because so many people of the voting public have put it forward that it becomes an issue that has to be discussed. So, and that mechanism doesn't exist here in North America. So the start of all of this, more or less, was, generally speaking, I suppose, there's been before, but the big one was when Ubisoft started to shut down the Crew or whatever servers. So it was the whole idea of how so many games, even if they're kind of single player-ish focused, have been moved online to a point where at some point when the developer just stops supporting the online function, even if it's a more or less single player game, it is a useless, like you can't play the game anymore. So you've paid for the game, but you can't play it anymore. Even if it was never meant to be like a multiplayer game, because of the online component, and then they just stop supporting it and take it down, and now you have dead weight. And so the idea was, and companies, big companies, have been intentionally moving in that direction for quite some time. As you've seen, I'm sure, everything's become a service. Yep. Even single-player games are a service of some kind now. And when you change things to a service, legally, that gives the developer and publisher a lot more power in terms of support and how to kind of derail the secondhand market than they could if they weren't service games. So they've kind of been moving in this direction, and it's meant that there are a lot of games that people have paid a lot of money for, especially since they're service games. People are spending more money in them, and then they're being taken away or shut down, and not being given, the community not being given any opportunity to just run it themselves. So, for example, just as a loose example of what does that mean, so like, let's say, how, for fucking GTA Online, NoPixel and these other services, they're private servers, right? So they have the code base, and they have private servers for the game. World of Warcraft has private servers that aren't run by Blizzard. People have reverse engineered World of Warcraft to run these servers for people to play privately and not on the public servers. So the whole idea was like, listen, stop doing that shit, because people have paid money for it, and within the contract of people purchasing it, this seems like we're painting outside the lines. Let's get legislation in place that says that if you create a game and you wish as a developer or publisher to stop supporting it, all you have to do is at least allow the community the ability to pick up what you no longer want to do. So if you don't want to support the game anymore, but the community that owns the game is willing to take up the charge, that they are allowed to do so that the games just don't become dead weight. And if it's a single player scenario, make sure that if somebody is paying for it, that they're able to keep playing it. Just like with the games you have behind you, those games are older than some of the people that would be watching this. Not many of them, because most of us are old now. You can put that shit in and play it right now, and it is the same as when you plugged it in and played it in 1992. You can't do that with games now, but they are still selling them in the exact same fashion in which they sold those games behind. And so the idea of stop killing games was a bit of games conservation. It was a bit of consumer protectionism, because the companies have been clawing more and more rights away from the consumer side and putting more and more power in their hands contractually with these end user agreements. And so that's what this whole movement was about. When that went up, people were broadly very excited about it. We're getting behind it. And there was like, it needs 1 million signatures to pass. And it made it to like 400,000. But then the content creator Pirate Software, who has been currently just spiraling his ass out of control for like 4 or 5 months now, which is a whole other side topic that you are way too employed to fucking discuss and probably don't need to know about. All you need to know is that this guy, who was at the time a trusted voice as a game developer to some degree, said that it was a horrible idea and was actively campaigning against it. And then the support for it basically fucking died. And so it froze out at like 400,000. And then eventually people started finding out that Pirate Software is a bit of a blowhard and was making shit up and misrepresenting Stop Killing Games. And in his attempt to take that position, it was like the Streisand effect. And so we went from like 400,000 signatures on this thing to like 1.3 million in like 3 weeks. Like just fucking exploded at the finish line and got it across. So it passed. So now it's going to have to actually be discussed. And you know that it's doing something because developers and publishers, Ubisoft I think was one of them and a couple of others, started coming out and saying, hey now, could you not? We'd prefer it if you guys didn't actually get this passed. And then here's a bunch of bullshit reasons why that also, like Pirate Software, misrepresent what the movement was about and what they're asking to be made available. And so they're shaking a little bit about it. I would love to see if the EU will actually go ahead and do it. I support it. I think it's a great idea. For a number of reasons. One, again, I'll reference Jeff's wall behind him. Game companies, including Nintendo, have already done a great job at showing us that they don't give a fuck about preservation of any of their fucking shit whatsoever. Like not even Nintendo, for God's sake. So preservation's a problem. I would love to be able to keep these around like we have movies and music and books, other forms of media. We have preservation mechanics in all of these realms, but with games, because they keep wanting to make them a service so that they can resell them in the future, take them off a storefront and then put it back on the next console and be like, full price. Here's the fucking remaster. We changed nothing, but we're selling it for $80. The preservation of games has become very difficult. So I like it for that reason. And then I also like it because it will, to some degree, force these companies to rethink how much they are trying to abuse end user agreements to take more rights away from, on the consumer side. Ubisoft, after this passed, updated their end user agreement. And you know what one of the updates was? You're not even going to believe this. You're going to think this is bullshit. You couldn't even come up with this. If I asked you to come up with the dumbest, fucking, most insane thing in an end user agreement for a game, you would never be able to guess what the fuck they tried to put in this thing. It would never hold up in court in a million fucking years. They have in their agreement now, after this passed, this Stop Killing Games thing passed over in Europe, they updated their shit so that they think that contractually, by you agreeing to this end user thing, that they can force you to destroy your copy of the game at their will. They're gonna
Cool.
call you up. You're gonna knock on your door and be like, "Hey, heard you got this game
No.
on disc.
It
Time
ain't
to
gonna
destroy
happen,
it."
bro. Yeah, no.
Right?
But get the fuck
So-
off my property.
But that's
Now.
where, but that is the level. So, but what it does is it shows you the level of control that they want to have. They're not willing to actually make good video games. They don't give a fuck. They just want to be able to put out low effort bullshit and have so much control over the end user agreement that they can basically just farm your ass in perpetuity using what used to be an art form, and also not be able to allow people to hold them in perpetuity or to some degree that the length of the media survives, like the wall that you have behind you. And I think it's a horseshit. So stop killing games is great. I'm glad that it passed. Do I think that that means it's going to suddenly, actually get through over there and make some magic happen? I don't know. I do know that it educated a lot of people. A lot of gamers that didn't think about this stuff or know that it was happening now do know about it. Millions and millions and millions and millions of them. And so, if anything, at least we now have a more informed bunch of people out there. We see the reaction from the companies to this passing. So we know that they're a little bit worried about it, which means they are extorting the fuck out of your ass. You just didn't know how, to what extent that they were extorting you. So I think it's been a net positive, even if it doesn't pass. The reality is Europe, EU, has a lot of shit going on over there right now. I don't know how high up the list video games is on their, list of concerns. They got a lot of stuff going on over there. Now, maybe you'll do it because it's a consumer protections thing. And I wish them all the best luck in the world. But yeah. I mean, I'm sure as somebody who's collected games, ideally you would like to continue to be able to collect games. And for your son to be able to collect games. And to be able to have that shit in the future. This kind of a thing is going to be one of the few ways in which we can slow the everlasting fucking creep down of not being able to do so, as everything wants to be more and more digital only, and to not be able to hold on to shit. It is a new world. Here you go, Mr. Black. I'm going to rein you back from whatever long-winded conversation you're currently having your emails with this question.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I just bought a house. Congratulations, first of all. This is Jubinator. Congratulations, Jubinator. That's monumental in and of itself. 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, built in 76. All original, no HOA. That's the biggest dub on this list, I'm going to be honest with you. No HOA is a fucking huge dub. If you were a 28-year-old single guy like me, god damn, that's an even bigger dub. 28, single, and you got a house with no HOA? It's the dream. What would you prioritize doing first on the house? Without knowing a lot more details about the condition of your house, that is a very difficult question to ask.
It's a very difficult question to ask.
That'd be very general.
I mean, make it as livable as possible. I mean, I'm
Could
not
start.
sure, man. Like, if you're if you're planning to be there for a very long time, I mean, you don't need to rush any. It's not like you need to go dump a shit ton of money in it and it would make it, unless you're trying to like resell it or something along those lines. But I mean, just make it livable. Try and find things, like if you're trying to save money or be more efficient, try and find things that you can replace that is more efficient. I'm not sure what your heating is like. Usually in like old homes in the 70s, they have like older style heating. It depending on even where you live. Maybe you're in an area that you don't need heat on or much heat on throughout the year, and it doesn't really matter. If you live in Canada, then maybe it's more advantageous for you to switch up sort of the heating so that it isn't as expensive as like say oil heating or gas, or I don't know. There's just I mean, it's such a broad question that it's like it's very hard for me to give you a proper answer. I would just say, take your time, because there's going to be a lot of, CapExes or capital expenditures that like on a house in the 70s that you got to be prepared for. Like, I don't know, maybe your roof needs to be redone. You know, maybe you know, I don't know. There's a type of, maybe insulation is old and dated. Maybe you know, I couldn't tell you. But I mean, even a house in the 70s are usually built pretty fucking well. A lot of the times they're built way better than what people are building, you know, in 2025. So you probably got strong, good, solid bones in the house, and it's just a matter of tackling things little by little. A lot of people buy their first house and then they spend a shit ton of money on, you know, making it look like what they envisioned right away. And the next thing you know it, like appliances start going, or, you know, they need a new roof or they need this. And next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, you know, this is 10 grand. This is 20 grand. It shit adds up, you know, even 5 grand here, 3 grand here, it adds up. So go in there and just tackle little bits by little bits. Or if you're in a position where, you know, money isn't tight, you can go ham. You know what I mean? Do all the stuff you want to do. Maybe you don't have a paved driveway and you want to pave that bitch. So, you know, shoveling and fucking snow blowing ain't a pain. I don't know, but it's a very broad question. But congratulations, dude. 28.
Huge.
Got a house. Living the dream.
Huge. I would say, yeah, I mean, it is, you have to stick to general stuff because there's no real specifics other than he says that, you know, it's all original down to what, I doubt the roof is original unless it's like tile roof, because the roof would never have fucking lasted that long. So, you know, and if the windows are original, even that's impressive. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's going to be an order of operations, and you just kind of have to take account of everything. And there are important things and less important things, and yeah, you have to just kind of chip away at it. You know, for me, the first thing I'd check before I did anything was just, you know, 76 is getting pretty late for it, but I would still, if you've got any left behind kind of tile or linoleum, and or like even to some degree like popcorn ceiling and stuff, you might have to have somebody come in and test for asbestos. Wouldn't be the worst idea. Because 76 is getting up there, but I have been in a couple of homes built in the 70s that still managed to have some latent fucking random asbestos-based tile or some other shit in it. And it's not that you have to, like, freak the fuck out, but if you're going to renovate, you should probably know if something is asbestos before you do it, especially if you're doing it yourself. You drive a, you know, you take a shower in a standing shower that has asbestos tile, you're fine. You put a sledgehammer through it and you don't have a mask on, you're less fine. So, you know, that would be one thing that I would take a peek at. And then, yeah, it's the order of operations. You know, take a look at the roof. You don't want to leak. Roof would be number one for me. So what's the condition of the roof? Next, windows. If the seals are good on the windows, even if they're old, I mean, it's not a huge rush. Like, you just, if the seals are fine and you don't mind the look of them, they can wait. So like the thing after that I'd be interested in, the bones are usually good, but I'd be checking sills under doors. You know, has water gotten in under the doors over time and started rotting the sill underneath? Because that's a relatively common thing in older homes. So even if they're well kept, it's just the nature of the beast. Water eventually finds a way of getting in underneath of there. And if you can stop the rot early, then even better. So roof, windows, sills, asbestos, check if necessary. Those are like the big ones for me. And then the next one from there is, especially if you live in a place where it's winter and you're trying to like button the place up in the winter months, there's not a lot of fresh air moving through the house. If it's 76, it probably has no central anything moving air anywhere. If it's not a forced air, like, furnace for heat. So, an HRV, like a central air HRV to pull fresh air in and exhaust air out of the house, huge. Would be inside the house, probably one of the first things I did. One sec, I think my wife is at the door.
No problem. But yeah, man, congratulations, bro. You're ahead of the general public, man. So one way or another, just take your time with it. Don't try and furnish your entire house at once and all that other stuff. Just, you know, go slow and steady. Things will pop up.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really like an order of operations of like what is really important right now, and then go from there.
I've spent in the last, well, since I've been here, it's going on year 6. I think it's year 6 now. I've probably spent, and stuff that like I had to fix, I've probably spent 40 grand on stuff like I had to fix. Like there's just no getting around it. Just no getting around it. So, you know, it's
and that's why the order of operations is important. You know, if you just bought the house, even though you just had it inspected, and the inspection should have told you a fair amount of what you may want to focus on. The inspector probably would have said, "This is asbestos. You're gonna want to handle this." They probably, because in order to get insured, some places would have had to like force you to remove the asbestos depending on where you are. So honestly, the inspector probably gave you a pretty good starting point. How's the roof? How are the windows? How's the insulation? How's all these different things, right? Like the inspector's probably done it pretty good. So maybe just use it as a starting point. But congrats, huge, getting in. At that age, in a 70s home is fantastic. Like Jeff said, the bones in those, at least around here, are usually some of the best out of what's available. And so you got yourself a good starter. That's fantastic. Random Josh asking thoughts on if steroids should be allowed for any type of competitive esports game. What is considered, now it wouldn't be steroids, it'd be what would be considered PEDs, right? Performance enhancing drugs. And a PED in esports would be like fucking uppers, right? You'd be looking at like speed, basically. You might be able to make the argument that caffeine pills in a high enough concentration would be performance enhancing in esports. Ritalin, which is already kind of speed to begin with. You know, things that allow you to focus more, unless you have like an actual medical condition that requires you to have it, like you have like actual like diagnosed ADHD or ADD. But like, you know, what are you gonna do? Fucking juice? You're gonna like shoot up some fucking test and then hit up the fucking pro scene and suddenly be better? No, obviously, I mean, like it's not gonna. It's not. Nobody's hitting the D ball and then CS:GO champion and being like, yeah, you know what really put me over the edge on that smoke? Popping that smoke off the fucking roof and getting that perfect fucking pixel. All the testosterone I've been injecting into my thigh for the last 9 months as I've been going to the gym. So I wouldn't say that's the determining factor for success.
I mean, there's a ton of gamers that use you know,
like uppers and shit,
drugs.
Like concentrations,
uppers. Yeah, like Adderall and that sort of stuff, right? I mean, I don't know what other drugs are really gonna, outside of like drugs that keep you focused and keep you playing for long periods of time. I'm not sure exactly what other steroids are going to be used.
So like on that front, unless you have a medical, prescription for it, Meogs, 92 months, welcome back, and then immediately gifting 20 subs.
Thanks, man.
Bless. Thank you, Meogs. Yeah. I mean, that should probably not be allowed, because those would legitimately, it's the closest thing to a PED that esports would have, right? You're hyper concentrated. Right, that's as best as you got. That's the equivalent of shooting up for doing powerlifting and shit. The difference between somebody's strength and or recovery time shooting up, steroids is way outpaces somebody that hits up the fucking CS:GO maps wired for fucking sound. Is probably going to have a better shot than the dude that's just raw dogging it and only slept 4 hours last night. Like that's just kind of the nature of the beast. So probably not the best to have that kind of shit in there. But I do enjoy the thought of like esports banning anabolic steroids from competition is kind of funny to me. Just seeing a bunch of like juiced up fucking nerds getting on stage playing Apex Legends would be kind of hilarious. And honestly, we should encourage it. Actually, no, we shouldn't. Don't do steroids at a young age, for Christ's sake. That's actually a major problem right now. Come to think of it, like the fitness influencer scene went from like everyone wants to be like lean and ripped to some degree to we've got 19-year-old kids doing huge fucking like cycles of steroids at like 20.
Well, I mean, it's social media, bro. That's social media. Like that's just
crazy. And so much of it's because they just don't like these guys aren't saying I'm on steroids. They're like, I'm natural. I put on 50 pounds of lean muscle in 6 months with the power of chicken and broccoli. And everyone watching it's going, holy fuck, this guy's walking around with like 8% body fat. He just put on 50 pounds of fucking muscle and he's natural. I've got to get on the steroids to even have a hope of getting that big, bro. And then they hit up the gym and you're seeing like actual 19 and 20-year-olds in a gym bathroom breaking out the needle. That's fucking crazy. That's so crazy to me. I just like, when I was in the gym all the time when I was younger, I would have loved to have been bigger, but I never thought to myself, let's get some steroids. Like that never fucking crossed my mind. Like, and I knew a lot of guys that were hitting up the gym and they were in great shape and none of them were on steroids either. Like the idea, I think some of the problem is the idea that you can just take steroids and get ripped is also a problem. Like that doesn't magically happen. You don't just start doing like huge rounds of fucking D-ball and all of a sudden you look like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's just not, that's not how that fucking works. Now if you're 35 years old or some shit and you've been training hard and eating properly and sleeping and drinking water like a god for a decade in the gym, you've probably hit your genetic max. And so if you want to try it out and you don't mind taking 5-10 years off your life, okay. But like 19? Bro, the testosterone doesn't even know where to go. You ain't got so much testosterone. The testosterone's fighting other testosterone in there. You don't need any of that shit. What the fuck? I don't care how soft you look. You don't need that shit, for fuck's sake. It's crazy. Next up, speaking of steroids, Superman. But also Superman and Fantastic Four movie review. I haven't seen either. I have heard both are good.
Yeah, I've seen both. Fantastic Four is better than Superman.
Okay. How do we feel about that Superman actor for Superman?
I think he's
fine.
How
are we feeling?
I think he's fine. Yeah, I think he's fine. It's just different. It's just different from Henry Cavill. Like it's a different type of Superman. So, I think what they did good in this is they I think what they did is they've made it so different that it's kind of hard to compare both Supermen. It's a different tone in that aspect.
Like,
it's
entirely
totally different tone.
Yeah,
just totally different tone.
Is it closer? Is it closer to like the OG like Christopher Reeve Superman tone, like that kind of like.
Yeah, a little bit closer.
Kind of poppy, little bubbly, kind of Superman-y.
No, it's not as bubbly, but it's much brighter. It's like right. it's a much more comic booky, not as serious. Yes. Oh, you can see. And maybe you can almost see too much. Like the colors are very but at the same time it looks nice. Yeah, it looks nice.
And you felt good about Fantastic Four as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually liked Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the look of this version of Fantastic Four because it's what I remember as a kid. The comics at the time were that style, that like that almost fucking Jetsons cartoon, like 1960s future. Like, what is the future look for people in the 1960s? It had that vibe. And so when I was reading the comics as a kid. And so this being the closest to that I can think of all the Fantastic Four movies, that's why I was kind of interested in seeing it. I probably will eventually. But I'm not so excited about that. I have to just like run out and fucking and watch it. What I am going to run out and watch though, and I can't remember the name of it right now. I just saw the fucking trailer for it yesterday. Rental Family. Brendan Fraser. The Renaissance continues, Mr. Black. I am going to run out and see this bitch. November 21st, I think. This is, okay, I'm going to sell you on this in a way that's going to be almost comedic, but it's kind of true if you look at it from like a plot perspective. This is like this is the modern version of The Last Samurai. Not in the sense that there are samurai or it's samurai themed, but in the sense that this is a as they say in the movie, literally token white dude in Japan. He's an actor in the movie, and it's called, like I said, Rental Family. If you want to look at it, where he is part of one of the agencies that you literally rent yourself out as an actor or a person to be something in somebody else's life in Japan that they want. Maybe they need a friend. Maybe they want like somebody that plays the role of a husband for a fucking day. Older people wanting company, things of that nature. That exists in Japan. That's real.
Yeah.
Right now. And so that's the movie. And this is like the guy in the movie that was hiring him was like, because Brendan's like, I don't know, like, why me? And he's just like, he just straight up says, we need a token white guy. And that was the fucking start of it.
You're him.
But it looks really, really fucking, just a really solid, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, and it's going into the theaters, which is shocking to me, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, this has got to be something. Is this on HBO? Is this on Netflix? What is this going to be? But it's going to the theater. It reminds me of like a Good Will Hunting style movie. A movie that probably wouldn't happen normally these days, but there's a couple of people still, this is Searchlight Pictures production, a couple of places that are still willing to do it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go out and check that one out when it pops up. And I think there was like one other, what was the other movie related thing? I don't know if they'll come here, but I thought I heard they're re-releasing the first Star Wars film in theaters for the anniversary. Like A New Hope. If they put that out here, I'll go watch it. We got stiffed on Interstellar. We got fucking cucked out here on the Interstellar bullshit. I was so ready to go back to IMAX.
Oh yeah, I would have went out in a hot second to go see that, but yeah,
fucking got destroyed. Have you seen Ballerina yet?
No.
That's another question. Neither did I.
No.
My thoughts on it? I've heard that it's pretty good. I haven't heard that it's dog shit, so that's good because, you know, messing around with the John Wick universe feels like it either goes one of two ways. You know, it doesn't feel like you're just going to get something super mediocre, so that was good to hear. I'll probably watch it eventually. And then Mad Kiwi is giving us our last question of the day, Mr. Black.
Okay.
Before we do get to that last question, because we didn't do segments, you want to do a little sellout real quick for the folks at home?
Oh, patreon.com/LagTV. Head on over there. Support us directly if you so wish to do so. Or you can check out our sponsor, NordVPN. Stay safe, stay anonymous on the internet. Watch different regions of Netflix and other streaming services at the click of a button. Plus, for a limited time, when you get that 2-year subscription, you get the 74% off, 4 extra months, and a $20 Amazon gift card, which brings down your average even more. So now we're talking less than half a cup of coffee.
Yes,
half
sir.
It's like 25% of a grande cinnamon dolce latte at Starbucks a month. So go check them out. It's a great way to support us. I've been with NordVPN for 6 years. At this point, because you guys have been getting those memberships or those subscriptions and renewing using our link. It's a big way to support us. Plus, you get cast on with StarCraft as well. If you pick up a subscription, you can email that screenshot and a replay of your choice under 30 minutes to us.
Yes, sir.
And we will cast it on the next following week. And, of course, you're going to have anonymity on the internet. So, you know, guys, it's 2025. It's a crazy world out there. You need a condom for the internet. You got to stay protected out there. You just do. Let's be real.
It's wild
It's
out
true.
there, and you can use it on your phone, so your Android, your iOS, your Mac, your PC, virtually any device. So go and check them out. Use our link. It'll be in the description below. And that's nordvpn.com/OTT.
And now it's time for the last question. Mad Kiwi said, I just finished Expedition 33 and I'm pretty sure it gave me depression. I can see that. What's a piece of media that you enjoy that makes you feel sad? Movie. I'll even go with music. Video game. TV show. What do you think? Something you really like.
Makes me sad.
But it makes you sad.
Something that I really like, but it makes me sad.
I definitely know there's a couple of movies or something that I could probably come up with. You know what?
There's some music that makes me sad. There really is some music that fucking hits.
That hits you different?
Yeah. I mean, John Q. I love the movie John Q. I mean, I can't watch that movie without crying.
That's tough. You know what mine was? Random as fuck. I have no explanation for it, really. Do you even remember this movie? It's a Robin Williams movie. Jack.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah, that's
Jack
where he plays. Doesn't he play like a big kid or?
Well, a kid that ages like he's got a condition where he ages crazy fast.
Yes, fast. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
That shit fucked me up.
I can't even remember that. Did it? Yeah.
It fucked me up.
I mean, Robin Williams is just a good actor, so like he can kind of hit you in the feels.
He can
right?
pull that. He can pull that shit out of me. Yeah, he's one of the guys that could definitely, for sure.
I mean, dude, there are so many fucking movies, and I don't know so much about TV shows. Like typically, if I'm watching TV shows, I'm not really watching them to feel sad.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like
because they go on forever. It's like, am I coming back for another episode next week?
Exactly. But there are tons of movies that like fucking just irk me. You know what I mean? Like there's like there's some old like slavery films that I've watched that are just like really like not, Schindler's List. There's like really great pieces of filmmaking that are just like horrific, just really hit you in the feels. And you know what, man? The older I get, the more soft I get too.
Yeah, true.
I've gotten emotional over shit that when I was young, I'd probably just be like, what the fuck is this? But just like as you get older and as life experience, you start to look at things a little bit differently. I'm just like that. I'm a big softy anyway. It's just how I am. And it's like, honestly, dude, I think like film and music and stuff, I almost use it to allow myself to be emotional because I'm not typically an overly emotional person. Like I don't I kind of just hold stuff in. So it's like almost like subconsciously I allow these things to bring the stuff out. It's almost like I give myself permission to feel certain feels.
Yeah, it's an outlet.
Yeah, it's an outlet. So, but yeah. There's tons of movies, tons of things, tons.
Oh yeah, you probably sit there and fucking think of like a fucking million of them. I was trying to think of like music and shit. Honestly, it's true. Like as I've gotten older, same thing. Like things would hit me differently than they did before. But I think I've nailed it down to a certain degree as to why for some of it. So I'll give you another weird thing. Sometimes when I'm watching old sports highlights and shit, or like one that always gets me is and this is a random one that always gets me, and if Korean guy was here he'd laugh at me. Meogs is here, he'll laugh anyway, is Larry Bird's retirement video, like the recording of it always gets me for some reason. I think, I thought about this the other day. I was like, why does this always get me fucking sideways when I watch it? And I think some of it is when you get a little older and you've gotten past your prime. Like, we're still young, but we're not prime anymore, right? We're on the other side of 35. We're not prime anymore. You've gone through enough of that when you see other people who have excelled or mastered something, and you see that thing come to an end, and it's a story, it's almost a storybook ending, like, which is a rare thing. There is an emotional way where you look at that, you can appreciate what that person did to a point that it can kind of catch you in the feels. And for me, that was like a Larry's thing was one of those things. The dude wasn't an asshole. He wasn't like off fucking other people's wives. He wasn't some sort of crazy gambling addict. The dude came from nowhere, tough life, busted his ass, played the hardest version of basketball anyone's ever fucking played to the point where he was so hurt, he had to lay on the court because his back was fucked. He couldn't even sit. Still played pretty much every game in the season, gave it his all, played everything in Boston only, didn't hop teams, didn't do all that shit. And between him and Magic, saved the fucking NBA. Literally fucking pulled it up out of nothing.
Bird was fire, bro. He's one of the greats of the sport.
And so when in the retirement, when he was kind of forced to retire because he was so injured, he couldn't keep playing. He literally couldn't keep playing. And he went out there, and it's him and Magic comes out on the court, and they held his retirement, if memory serves, in the middle of the regular season, and they packed the fucking Garden for this shit. It was 2.5 hours long, but then eventually out comes Magic Johnson, and he's holding the jersey that's like signed. He's written a fucking like sentence on it, and it says like, and he's reading it. He's got the microphone. He's reading it off. He says, to Larry Bird or whatever, the greatest basketball player to have ever lived. But even better than that. The greatest basketball player ever, but even better than that, like a friend forever. And it was these two guys that dumped their whole life into basketball, saved it, got through it unproblematic, retires, gave his soul to it, and his ending part of his speech, it wasn't even like this long-winded thing, which is the most Larry Bird thing ever. He just takes the microphone, he says something along the lines of like, my time with basketball is over, but I just, I gave my life to basketball and I gave my life to Boston, and my time is over with this, or whatever. My time is done, but I just want to say I had a blast. And then he just said thank you, and he peaced out. He picked up his kid and he fucking left. And there's
Let's go.
It's like there is something. It's that's so fire. It's so perfect. Yeah. And when I was younger, it's not like it was the first time I'd ever seen that. I've watched it a million times, but getting to the age where I'm at now, where I can look at that and I can appreciate what does that moment represent for like not like the sport that I love, but also for this guy, this person.
Yeah, for him. It's his whole life.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So there's something about this. It's very movie-esque, but it happened. That was a real thing that fucking happened. Like, it looks like you're watching a fucking like written movie, but it happened. So that's like and that same thing can apply to a lot of shit for me. Like, I'll look at things that normally it's not music, it's not TV, it's not whatever, but it will be in that same vein, and that hits me. That'll get me sideways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, it's true. It's something about, you get a little older and different things, you start to, you appreciate things in a different manner, and it catches you fucking off guard. It's very true. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for this week. Good, solid, good two-piece, little 2-hour shenanigans there. That'll get you to working back. That's for sure. Sir. We will see you all, theoretically, next week. Unless something comes up, because listen. We did how many years of this before we finally fell off on doing it weekly without any fucking interruptions? Yeah. We finally made it. We got to a point in our lives.
A lot of stuff has been going on this last month. A lot. So it is what it is. Yeah, we'll be here.
We should be here, all things equal. And until we see you guys next time, thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Stay safe out there, and peace.
Peace.